And welcome back. Well, our next guest wrote a guide to help your kid become a more successful, or at least functional, adult. She covers small stuff like laundry and paying bills to bigger topics like building character, showing empathy, and even drinking, drugs, and sex.
Covers it all, right? We got it all in there. Kathleen Davis is a writer, painter, and realtor who's raising 2 teenage sons. Her new book is just about to be released. It is called You Never Told Me That, a crash course in preparing your kids for independence. I love that. Great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So the book is, we're right on the front of it, right? Because it's going to be released, is it next week?
It is. Well, June 2nd is the release date.
Congratulations.
So thank you.
Your first book, right?
It is. It's my first book. I never knew I'd end up here.
Yeah. So what I can't get over is you're a busy mom. You work, you're a realtor. How do you have time for writing, and what inspired you to do this?
That is a question I'm asked often.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, I don't get a lot of sleep, for one. But
that helps for writing.
Also, so I'm a full-time realtor, as you know. And, you know, I think my business really prepared me for that. I am very structured in the way I run my business. And I have systems in place and people behind me, and it's just really allowed me to be very methodical in how I went about this process.
Yeah.
What actually made me decide to write the book, however, a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So I have an 18-year-old son, as you know, Henry, and I also have a 15-year-old son who's about to be 16. And Henry, my 18-year-old son, is a climber. He loves rock climbing. And although mostly he's indoors rock climbing right now, he is ready to take that outdoors. So I found myself having nightmares.
Yes.
I would wake up at 4 in the morning, sweating. And my nightmare was that Henry would look back at me and just take a step off that mountain.
I totally get that. The worry that comes with giving them the independence to make choices, and in this case, make choices to want to do something that's kind of risky.
Really risky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and in my mind, he's very blasé about the idea of going up huge mountains. And, you know, he would even to the extent of saying, Mom, everyone's got to die at some point.
Oh, geez.
Right?
That's exactly what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, honey, I've spent 18 years trying to keep you alive. Let's just wait.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a few more at least, right?
So, you know, and I thought, well, why am I having all these nightmares? I understand it's dangerous, but I think really what they're going back to is my fear that he's not totally ready to leave.
Yeah.
And so, and part of that was based on, you know, here's this kid, he's so smart. He, you know, he just finished up an independent study on counterterrorism and counterinsurgencies, and he's teaching it to the contemporary issues class, and yet he's calling me from the gas pump. He doesn't know how to pump gas. And so
I love it.
I'm thinking, what is wrong with this picture? And I know it's not just me. It's not just Henry. It is all kids. And so I started talking to other parents, and they're telling me stories, you know, the exact same stories. And it's not just, you know, the funny situations like the gas pump. It's really serious situations. What do you do if you're at a party and someone's overdosing on drugs?
Yeah.
You know, and I asked him this question, and not to trip him up, but just really, what are you going to do, honey?
Yeah.
Don't you just drop him off at the hospital and then leave so you don't get in trouble?
Oh, and
oh yeah.
Absolutely not. Do not do that.
Yeah.
You know? And really, what I find is you have to spell it out for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of parents will say, my kid wouldn't do that, or they'll figure it out. And the reality is, kids are not figuring it out. It takes them, you really have to tell them things. So,
yeah.
Well, and I think what's cool is that you've got all these very specific things that you can just tell them, this is how it works, this is what you do, but then there are things like empathy. How do you talk or teach empathy in a book? How do you cover that?
That's a great question.
well, so, and you know, the book is filled with stories, so it's meant to sort of perk you up a little bit and say, you know, wow, maybe I should talk to my kid about this.
Yes.
So, but empathy, I think a lot of people think is something you're born with. And I would argue that empathy is taught your whole life. You, empathy is asking yourself to look at somebody else's point of view.
Yes, and notice.
It is going to help you, this isn't something that's touchy-feely, it can be, but this is something, you're sitting across the table on your first job interview. You are trying to resolve a real estate transaction.
Yeah.
You're trying to resolve a conflict with your college roommate. Think about what the other person is thinking. And if you start your child at age 3, age 4, when they're being bullied or when they're trying to figure out, you know, why wouldn't they give me the chocolate milk when I asked them to, or whatever the situation is. You're teaching empathy all the way along. And that will serve them well in their life.
I think that's such a great point that you make. And I like the idea of spelling things out. You know, you're at a party and you're drinking. There is such a thing as Uber. You know, let's put the app on your phone. It's sometimes it's
not just
practical
telling them,
things.
right?
It's not just telling them things. It's actually walking through the steps. You can call if you're in trouble. I'll be there ASAP, and we'll work out the questions later. So you tackle some things like laundry, which honestly I think is, I mean, it's something we do our entire lives.
My college roommate had her mom come up and do her laundry.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and you'll find people like that your whole life. But you tackle the serious stuff too.
Yeah.
Final thought about your book, who should read it?
It sounds like parents can too.
It's actually more meant for parents.
Okay.
So the idea is to start, is for parents to really start thinking about what they want to talk to their kids about before they leave. And I would say, you know, yes, you can get the book now and talk to your kids right before they leave. Get the book well before they leave and start these conversations. You know, start them when they're very young, start them right before they're going to leave. Start them after they've left and consider having them now.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Never too late is what I'm thinking, because mine's leaving in the fall.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I feel like, you know, I'm a work in progress. Every day I try to teach myself empathy and all of these things. And I think this has been such a learning moment for me.
Yeah.
When I started writing this book, I had no idea where it would take me. I've become so passionate about the concept of it.
Love it.
So there will be more books, and there will be you know, further developing the idea of this.
There's the website, younevertoldmethat.com.